Hi, welcome to Tackle Tarts. I'm at the Royal George. I'm in what is now called Pig Bay or Corner, whichever one you want to call it, because the tree that was half, that used to give it its name, is now a full tree and can't be known as half tree swim. So we've got pigs behind us, so that's what it is. And I'm fishing. I've got a chod rig on my left hand rod and a solid bag on my right hand rod, which I'm just about to show you how to tie. So we'll get on with that now. This is what I'm putting out. Here's the rig. This is a solid bag rig. You've got a square pair lead there. I think it's 2.5. Short leg core leader, little back lid on there. Ring swivel in the end. That's got a cut down shot leader sleeve inside. I don't like the end of the shot leader sleeve sticking out here, because when you have them like tied up in your bag, they twist and you'll have it coming out like that and it looks hanging. So, and I think when it's sitting on the bottom, it'll kick your leg core up like that, and I don't like that. So what I do is I cut that off, and then the hook link has been tied just straight to the ring swivel. I know normally I use a quick link, but in a bag you don't want a load of cumbersome bits of metal that are going to puncture the bag. It's just tied on with a half tuck blood knot. I think it's about 5-6 turns. With braid, which this hook link is, it's the inner of end trap. That's a size 8 wide gape. I would normally use a size 8 curve shank, but I don't have any with me. So what I've done is I've using the KD. As you can see, the hook's sitting off slightly, but not as much as it would do if it was a curve shank, because the point's beaked. And that beak point means that if you've got it sitting like that, the hook's point is going to want to go in the bottom lip of the fish. If you've got it coming off where normally it's, I think it's 2 turns up and then 5 turns below, I think it is, so you have a total of 7 turns. And normally when it's 2 turns over the top of the hair, at the top near the eye, it makes wide gapes just don't catch hold as well. So that's why I do that. And then on the top of there, I've just got one of the Fluoro Xtr-a cut down, so it balances with a little shot underneath, and it just sits. It'll just sit like that. It won't sit up like that. It'll just sit flat. So it covers the hook slightly, and I think that helps, especially in a solid bag situation when the fish are coming in and feeding on a really small bed of particles. And James is getting attacked by flies all the time. It's really funny. Right, so what I'll do is I'll get this bag sorted. I'll show you how to do this. What I've got here is a liquidus bag. It's not a corder bag, as I have used corder bags in the past. I have still got some with me. They're medium size, but these are a lot smaller, and I think they're much more suited to fishing on here, because we don't really fish a lot of bait on here. I mean, we bait up, like I'm fishing on the baited spot over there at the moment, but not like with any amount of bait. I mean, half a kilo is nothing really in this day and age, really, is it? Every other day when we come, like say. So I've got that bag. They're not perforated. It looks like it, but they're not. It's like it's what the PVA weave is. Sorry, not wave. And I know Corda always say that their bags aren't sealed at the bottom. Neither are these. It's exactly the same. They're just folded like Cordas. So pretty much exactly the same, and they're also cheaper, which really helps. I think I've got 50 of these, and you can get them for about £5, so that's not bad. So that's 50 carp, or bream, depending on what you put in them. Right, so what I've got in here, I've got a crusher full of Xtr-a bottom baits that I've just crushed up, and as you can see, they're not really fine. They're just sort of, there's some big chunks in there, there's a few small chunks, and there is a bit of powder at the bottom probably. So and you just fill the bag with this. It's so simple. You don't need to get any like complicated bag mix. I mean, you could do if you wanted, but this is what I just decided that I wanted to put a solid bag out today, and this is all I had with me, so that's what I've done. So I'm just gonna. What you want to do first of all is get a tiny bit in the bottom of your bag. So you just get a little bit in the bottom there.
You spill half on the floor.
Yeah, you spill half of it on the floor. That's what you do.
Because you can't be bothered getting out the.
Yeah. Well, I've got the thing out of the corded PVA somewhere, but I can't bother finding it. Right, as you can see, there's a little layer in the bottom of there that just stops. Well, make sure that the lead doesn't go through the bottom of the bag on a hard cast. And I mean, we're not doing a hard cast, but if you do it as a matter of course when you're making these bags, you'll never make that mistake if you're going for a big one. And so what I'm going to do now is get the lead inside the bag. I know some people put the hook link in first. put the hook bait to the bottom of the bag and fish it like that. I don't. I put the lead in first because I think that gives you the maximum. So if you think about it, if your lead's at the top and you've got your bait at the bottom, then all your bait is going to sort of wobble the flight of the lead about, and it's not going to land where you want it. This is going to be dead accurate because the lead, most of the weight, the lead weighs most. The bait in the bag doesn't weigh a lot. So if you've got the thing that weighs the most, it's the same thing with a spod. You know, everyone says push, make sure you don't overfill a spod. Put all the bait to the bottom and cast it further, and it goes straight. That's the main thing. So I've got that in there, and the hook's in my hand. So as you can see, the hook link's just made long enough so it sits over the top of the bag. It's a very short link. How long will you say that is, James?
A couple of inches.
Yeah, a couple of inches of that supple braid. That means that you don't get as many tangles. Is it raining? I think it's just, yeah. Right, I'll just sit that there and I'll just grab some more, spilling half of it on the floor as usual.
Look at that mess.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter. I'm sort of trying to aim the spill into the crusher itself. So there you are. Right, I've got a bit more in there now. Just all around the lead, so it's covering that up. And then, because that lead's so big, you can't fit as much bait in here, which really helps, because I don't think you need as much bait as people say you do in these solid bags. You know, when you're fishing a mesh bag, you don't put loads of bait in them. But like most of the time we're fishing on tanners and things like that, or you're fishing over spod mix or something like that, you're using a tiny bag, so there's no reason to use loads. I mean, I'd probably use a bit more than I would do in a mesh bag in one of these, just because it's the main thing what you're putting out, other than the bait that's already been out there for the past couple of days, you know, from what we've put in. So we've got, that's about half full, it's just above the lead. We'll put a tiny bit more in, and then the hook link goes, well, the hook bait goes in. And when you put in the hook bait in, I'd say just take your time. I know a lot of people rush these bags, that's why they end up slack and they're not tight enough, and they'll take ages to melt and all sorts, and you won't be able to cast them far either. Right, that's just about enough bait in there, I'd say, to be able to put your hook link in. It's probably about 2/3 full. So I get the hook bait like this, and I have a check inside here which way. Right, the hook link's coming off on this side of the lead core. You don't want to wrap it round. So I'm just going to push it down there. As you can see, that hook bait's there. You'll be able to see it once I've tied the bag on the outside normally. There you are, it's in there. See the hook, the bait just sitting over the top of it. You can tie the hairs on them KDs just to make sure they won't tangle. But I've never found it a problem, to be honest. In solid bags normally you don't get any tangles. I'd recommend you do it if you were fishing it on a stringer or something. Yeah, I've got some bait off the floor.
Nice.
Just put that out there. There's another big bit. A couple of other bigger bits. You don't want to get them preoccupied on small food items. I mean, a lot of people put what do they put in back, like ground bait and stuff. That's perfectly fine if you say it's a good idea if you don't want a lot of food in your swim, just attraction. That is a really good idea. But so far that's what we've got there. As you can see, the hook bait's there, perfectly visible on the side of the bag, so you know you're not tangled. And the lead is sitting, that's the swivel of the lead just pushing the mix towards the bottom of the thing, and then the lead's sitting around here. So the lead's right central, it's not going to wobble in flight, it's going to go out perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist the top of the bag, and I know a lot of people straighten that lead core up a minute. Yeah. A lot of people lick them and like stick them down. I never do that because xtr-a tastes disgusting. And you know how I found that out? James put the glug in my drink.
Oh yeah.
No, right. Yeah, the xtr-a tastes disgusting, and also the this tape will hold it better, I think, than licking it. So I've just got the PVA tape off there. Don't need a lot, just short length. This is the 5mm stuff. You don't even need all the thick stuff. I prefer this. You get more as well. More for your money. Wrap it round a couple of times, and then I'm just going to put it on my knee, James. You know where it's going to go. And then I'm just going to fly on me. Yay! Cheers. Right, I'm just going to tie it in a couple of knots. One, and then the second one, then one for good luck, just so it won't come off. I've cast these quite a long way. I mean, on the Sale Water Park when I fished there, I've put these out pretty much every time I was there, and sometimes on one swim in the shallows we were trying to reach the boards, to be honest, which are a long way away. But we were casting probably 100 yards with these, no problem, with my rods as well, which ain't the heaviest things in the world. So I'll just snip them so they're not dangling around in the way, and then as you can see there's a bit of PVA at the top, and all I do is I just get that cut down so that it's nice and neat, and you definitely won't get any residue with this either. I know with the lick and stick thing, normally that bit will be all stuck round here, and sometimes you get residue. But saying that, these liquidus bags are so good that I don't think I've ever had residue with any of these. Even when I in the olden days, before I probably when I first started, I was using these bags and I used to hook them through the knots, and they still didn't leave any residue on there. So I've cut that off, and there's the bag there. And just to make sure that there's no air in there, so it's going to sink quite quickly, but these don't sink as quick as a lead because they've got a bigger surface area, so they ain't going to sink as quick. I'm just going to pull the corners out and give them a lick. Oh. You just have to be careful you don't do it too long, because then you'll taste the boilies or whatever you put in it, which isn't very nice.
Unless you have something nice in it.
Unless you have something nice in it, yeah. Like tiger nut or something, boilies. They're alright. Or tooty.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. Right. Then I'm just going to get the needle, just give it a couple of stabs. Careful you don't stab yourself, I've done that.
I've done that.
Yeah. I think everybody's done that. That's the lead there, by the way, that I'm trying to stab through. So, right, that's enough holes. Get rid of that now. And there's your finished bag, ready for casting out.
Whack it out.
So I'll whack it out onto the spot. Right, gonna get this out now. It's going towards the point on Rich Chappie's garden.
Rich Chappie's.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's the same place where I caught that fish in January from this swim. So hopefully it'll bag us another one. Right on the spot, and then I'll just hold the line out the water so it doesn't catch on any weed beds.
Sink the line.
And I'm just sinking the line. Just pull it tight. I mean, on here it's pretty hard to actually move the bag. But on some lakes I know that you've got a much harder bottom than here. So just be careful when you're doing that. And that's done. And then, because it's tackle tarts, we need the reel handle in the right position, otherwise we won't catch anything. It's got bigger. 13 and a half.
What was it, 12 something?
12 and 3/4 last time.
12, 11.
Yeah, something, nearly 12.
Yeah.
I'll pick him up.
Which way you go?
Sun's coming that way, innit, so I'll pop here. He's got bigger. Oh, triple S have been feeding them. Every time I come, I'm putting half a kilo in.
Was that over the baited spot?
Yeah, I think so. But it's on the edge of it anyway. It's more over towards the other pegs that's put. Roll these up.
Watch.
Don't want to get slimy. Just clean this watch. Oh, went on the top of the brolly. Nice one. It might be a bit lively.
Racket.
3/4 pound heavier than last time. So obviously still growing. And that's only, I had it in March, so 3/4 pound in a few months. It's not bad that. For a fish up here anyway. And he's first one we've had, well, first one for a while that I've not had on a chod rig as well. I had it on the solid bag. What a cracking fish. Well, just flip him round. And then, as soon as I flipped him round, I'll...
Hi James, you alright?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
There he is. Still got them cool markings on it.
What, that's
So cool.
Go on, you carry on.
That's what we...
Cracking looking fish he is. Still.
Yeah.
Even with a 3/4 pound on. Right.
Do some pictures.
Yeah, I'll get some pictures on my phone and then we'll pop it back. Made up for his lack of fight on the way in with all that weed that was on the line. Right, we've put the fish back now. What a cracking fish that is, and it's put on 3/4 pound, so that must be good for the water. They're obviously feeding on my boilies because we've been putting plenty in. Sorry we didn't catch the fight because we would have done obviously, but when I hooked the fish, we noticed that it was straight in a weed bed, and I was trying to get it up, and it wouldn't come up. It just kept on swimming. It swam right over to near the sluice without. With me still pointing that way on a weed bed, so eventually it clicked out the weed bed, and then the weed went all the way down the line and went towards the fish. So that caused a big problem then, because the fish was pretty much stuck, and then it started coming in, but it was properly stuck. It couldn't hardly move, and it was in front of me. So James decided that he was going in. He seems to like that on this peg for some reason. He likes going in the water. So James went in, cleared the weed, and weed's there. Some of it anyway.
Yeah.
That was what was on the lead and the rig when we netted the fish, and then so we just sort of filmed it when we got it in now. So it's back. It's a bit further this way, so it's hopefully not going to get the weed bed this time, if there's any of it still left after all that what we brought in. But we'll carry on for a bit, and if there ain't nothing happening, then we'll wind in and off home. Right. Coming to the end of tackle tarts this week. Just baiting up at the end of the session.
Widespread bait.
Popping. Well, 5 down the stick at the once. They're all air dried, so they shouldn't split, but there are some that James has crushed.
Oh yeah. I got bored.
Yeah, well. And then so just scatter all these, hopefully get them all out before the ducks get there. And then I'll see you next time. Down there. Yeah, so I'll see you next time. I'll probably be here, to be honest. I think Tuesday I'm coming back. It's Sunday now, so only a couple of days to wait till I come back. So here's the last of them. Half kilo out there already, so there we are. There's a lot of them in. So me and James will see you next time on Tackle Tarts.